The rain had been falling for 3 straight hours by the time Evelyn Hart reached Platform 9 at the old Kensington rail station. The place looked abandoned. Lights flickered, paint peeled from the walls, and the only sound was the hiss of the cold wind cutting across the concrete. She checked the schedule again, but the LED board above her flickered so violently she could barely read the letters. 11:57 p.m., Transcontinental Line 1137, westbound, Devil's Pass. Evelyn frowned. She'd never heard of Devil's Pass. And she had traveled by train all her life. But tonight wasn't about comfort or familiarity. She needed to get to Oregon, fast. Her sister had collapsed earlier that afternoon, and the doctors said she needed a family member present. Evelyn had booked the first available route west, even if it meant taking a train she'd never heard of. Lightning cracked above the roof, turning the platform white for a second. Then the sound came, low, metallic, echoing through the station. Clang. 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 A train slowing down. Headlights pierced the darkness as the old-fashioned locomotive rolled in, steam hissing from its sides. It wasn't sleek or modern like the ones she usually rode. This one looked like it had crawled out of a museum, riveted steel, narrow windows, and a deep maroon paint job that looked almost black in the rain. The doors opened with a slow groan. No one stepped out. Evelyn hesitated. Hello. No answer. She climbed aboard. Inside, the train was unexpectedly warm. Old brass lights glowed softly from the ceiling. The leather seats looked freshly polished. Everything smelled faintly of cedar and smoke, like someone had just cleaned the place. A man stood in the aisle, tall and thin, wearing an old conductor's uniform, dark navy jacket, polished buttons, cap tilted low. His face was hidden in shadow. Evening, ma'am, he said with a voice like dry leaves. Ticket. Evelyn handed him her phone. It's digital. The conductor didn't move. For a moment she thought he didn't understand. Then he slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal punch. I only take paper tickets, miss. But this is the code the website sent me. Seat 42, he said, as if she hadn't spoken. Carriage seat. Before she could argue, he stepped back into the shadows and vanished through the next door. Evelyn blinked. He didn't walk away. He didn't turn. He just wasn't there anymore. A cold shiver spread down her arms. It's late, I'm tired, I'm imagining things, she told herself. She made her way down the aisle, rolling her suitcase behind her. The train was nearly empty, only a handful of passengers scattered randomly. A middle-aged woman knitting. A man staring blankly out the window. A teenager sleeping with headphones on. None of them smiled. None acknowledged her. Seat 42 was near the back. She sat down, exhaled, and wiped the raindrops from her glasses. The train hummed as the engine deepened into a low, rhythmic growl. At exactly 12 a.m., the doors slammed shut. The train jerked forward, and the journey began an hour past. Maybe 2. Evelyn couldn't sleep. The scenery outside was nothing but endless black forest, broken only by flashes of lightning. Every time the sky lit up, the trees looked closer, as if leaning toward the train. Across the aisle, the man staring out the window hadn't moved at all, not even blinked. Evelyn watched him for a moment. Still, frozen. Statue-like. Sir, you okay? No reply. Lightning flashed again. He wasn't breathing. Evelyn's heartbeat stumbled. She shook her head. No. No, he is. He has to be. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The intercom crackled. Ladies and gentlemen, the conductor's raspy voice whispered through static. We are now crossing into the old line. The old line. She'd never heard of it. The intercom fizzed out. But something else came through, faint, in the background. A whisper, a woman's voice. Turn back. Evelyn sat up straight. The lights flickered. The train shook. The air grew cold, so cold she could see her breath. Then she heard footsteps in the aisle. Slow. Dragging. Uneven. She turned. A girl, no older than 9, stood halfway down the aisle. Wet hair hung over her face. Her white dress was soaked and muddy. Bare feet, gray skin, and she was staring directly at Evelyn. No, not staring, crying. Tears slid down her face, but her expression didn't change. Evelyn froze. Hi, she whispered, her voice cracking. Are you lost? The girl didn't speak. She lifted one trembling hand and pointed at Evelyn. Then her voice, a soft, broken whisper, cut through the silent carriage. Don't stay here. Lightning exploded outside, blinding white. Evelyn covered her eyes, and when she looked again, the girl was gone. The man across the aisle finally blinked, as if waking from a dream. He turned toward Evelyn slowly, eyes hollow. You shouldn't have spoken to her, he murmured. Evelyn's throat tightened. Who was she? A warning, he whispered. One you won't get twice. The man leaned closer. His breath smelled faintly of rust. This train doesn't run anymore, he said. Not for the living. Evelyn's skin crawled. What do you mean? It was shut down in 1973. Carriage C. This carriage derailed near Devil's Pass. Everyone burned. His eyes widened. Everyone. Evelyn stared. No. That's impossible. I bought a ticket. The site said. The man shook his head slowly. There is no website, he whispered. Not anymore. Not officially. Her heart hammered. She pulled out her phone. No signal. No Wi-Fi. No GPS. Just one notification she didn't recognize. Welcome aboard line 1137. Final destination. Devil's Pass. Do not attempt to exit the train. Her hands trembled. The lights blinked again. The man inhaled sharply. They're coming, he whispered. Who? Before she could finish, the entire train lurched violently to the side. Luggage flew from the racks. The knitting woman screamed. Even the statue-like passengers now clutched their seats as the train rattled over the tracks like it was about to come apart. The lights dimmed. Red emergency bulbs flickered on. Then, through the flickering light, Evelyn saw them, figures outside the windows. Running alongside the train, but not like normal humans. No, they moved in unnatural bursts, broken stop motion, limbs bent backward, faces pale and expressionless. Their eyes glowed faintly as they matched the train's speed effortlessly, staring inside as if searching for someone. Searching for her. One of them slammed its hand against the glass. The window cracked instantly. Another pressed its face near the glass, mouth stretching impossibly wide. The man across the aisle grabbed Evelyn's arm. Don't look at them. Don't let them see you. But they already had. And they were smiling. The intercom sputtered again, the conductor's voice low and almost gleeful. Next stop. Passage of the Restless. Please. Remain. In your seats. Evelyn couldn't breathe. The ghostly figures outside vanished as fast as they came, dissolving into mist. Then the train stabilized. The lights brightened. Everything became eerily calm again. The man beside her closed his eyes, trembling. This is just the beginning. Evelyn swallowed hard. What's at the end? He opened his eyes slowly. Devil's Pass, he whispered. Then leaned closer. And no one who reaches it ever comes back. Evelyn's hands were still shaking as she gripped the edge of her seat. The words, "No one who reaches it ever comes back," echoed in her mind, louder than the train's own engine. She glanced around the carriage. Everything looked normal. Well, almost. The other passengers still sat unnervingly still, staring ahead, expressionless. The girl in the white dress was nowhere to be seen. A chill ran down her spine as a low, dragging sound began somewhere behind the last carriage. She froze. It was soft at first, like the scuff of leather boots on the floor, then louder, slower, deliberate. Something, or someone, was walking toward her. The man across the aisle, the statue-like passenger, noticed her panic. He whispered, almost to himself. They move between cars. They pick their prey. Evelyn's eyes widened. Pick their prey, their spirits, he said. His voice was gravelly, almost as if it came from a distant tunnel. From the accident, not all of them, some want revenge, some just want to drag you into the tracks. She looked out the window. Darkness stretched for miles, punctuated by flashes of lightning. Then she noticed something else. The rails ahead twisted in ways that no train should be able to travel. The tracks bent unnaturally, as though the train were sliding along an invisible curve, entering a fog that didn't exist outside the windows. Evelyn swallowed. Am I dreaming? The dragging sound grew louder, now echoing in the very floorboards of the carriage. She turned to see movement in the reflection of the windows, a shadow moving faster than it should, skipping steps, then pausing to stare at her. Her pulse raced. She clenched her phone as if it could save her. The man across the aisle, he finally introduced himself. My name's Daniel Green. I've been on this train before, years ago. I shouldn't be here again. But neither should you. Evelyn blinked. You've been here before. He nodded slowly. His gaze went distant. It's a loop. Once the train departs the station, it doesn't stop until it reaches Devil's Pass. No one, no living thing, escapes. Her stomach churned. Then why are we here? Why is it still running? Daniel's jaw tightened. Because it doesn't belong to this world anymore. That night, the fire, the derailment, the bodies, they didn't just vanish. They linger. The train has become a vessel for them, and for whatever else. His eyes flicked to the window, and Evelyn followed his gaze. Through the glass, she saw them again, figures flickering in and out of the fog. This time, closer, faces twisted, mouths moving without sound. Some ran alongside, others hovered in midair, floating as if the rules of gravity had surrendered. The intercom crackled. The conductor's voice returned, smoother now, almost melodic. Passengers, you are on schedule. Do not leave your seats. The end awaits. Evelyn looked at Daniel, whose knuckles were white. We can't leave. You can't leave, he confirmed. The doors are locked. No one opens them from inside. Just then, the carriage lights flickered and died completely. Evelyn was plunged into darkness, save for the occasional flash of lightning outside. The shadows in the seats around her began to move, imperceptibly at first, then faster. She screamed as the girl in the white dress appeared again, standing silently at the far end of the carriage, her eyes hollow and fixed on Evelyn. Don't look away. The girl whispered, voice echoing in the pitch-black space. Evelyn covered her eyes, shaking, whispering, I can't. Daniel grabbed her arm. Focus. You have to remember you are alive. That's the only reason you're still here. Lightning illuminated the carriage again, and Evelyn saw the truth. The other passengers weren't human. Their faces were pale masks, skin peeling, eyes hollow. But they weren't dead, not fully. They were trapped, like shadows of the people they once were. A scream erupted from the middle of the carriage. Evelyn turned to see the teenager with headphones pulled his music device from his pocket, only to have it melt in his hands as black smoke oozed from it, filling his mouth. He convulsed, eyes rolling back. The smoke vanished as quickly as it came, leaving only silence. Evelyn gagged. Daniel grabbed her shoulder. We need to move. To the next carriage. It's safer near the engine. Sometimes. The spirits fear it. She hesitated. Why fear it? Because the engine contains the core, the source, whatever drives this nightmare. It can't exist near it for long. But we have to get there before it reaches us. The train lurched violently. Evelyn almost fell, but Daniel held her tight. Outside, the fog thickened, writhing like black water. Shapes flickered in it. Dozens of pale faces, all staring, all reaching. She screamed again. We can't make it. Daniel shook his head. We have to try. The passage between carriages was narrow and cold. Metal walls glistened with condensation. Evelyn's reflection in the window stared back at her, but it wasn't quite her own face. For a second, her eyes appeared sunken, gray, almost hollow. She blinked, and it was gone. Daniel led the way, muttering prayers under his breath. The dragging sounds followed them, faster now, almost racing, but the engine's vibration kept them disoriented. At one point, Evelyn felt a hand brush against hers, icy cold, not Daniel's. She whipped around, but there was no one there. Just fog swirling inside the carriage, heavier now, forming shapes. Shapes of the passengers. The girl appeared again, floating midair, her hand outstretched. Turn back, Evelyn's voice caught in her throat. I can't. My sister. Daniel froze. It knows why you came. That's why it's hunting you differently. It wants your reason. Your soul's tether. Evelyn's stomach churned. Tether. Before he could answer, a cold wind swept through the passage. The metal walls groaned. The lights in the next carriage flickered on, and inside, the seats were empty, except for a figure sitting in the farthest corner, head bowed. Daniel whispered, "The engine car. That's our destination." Evelyn stared. The figure lifted its head. Its face was familiar. Her own face, but dead, twisted, smiling. The reflection grinned at her, lips cracked and blackened. Evelyn froze, unable to move. Daniel pulled her forward. Do not look. Just move. The figure's eyes followed her, glowing faintly. Every step toward the engine felt like walking through water, dragging her body, slowing her heartbeat, until finally, they reached the door. The engine car was nothing like the passenger carriages. Copper pipes coiled around the walls, hissing steam. The air smelled of oil and burnt metal. A massive brass wheel spun slowly in the center, surrounded by glowing runes etched into the metal floor. This is it, Daniel whispered. The heart, whatever cursed this train, it lives here. Touch nothing, speak nothing, just survive. The lights flickered again, casting shadows that moved like living creatures. Outside, the fog seemed to press against the windows, as if the world itself were trying to crush them. Evelyn noticed something moving inside the wheel, a dark figure, faceless, stretching impossibly, limbs bending in ways no human body could. Its eyes. There were no eyes. Just darkness, a void that seemed to suck in all light. Daniel whispered urgently. Do you see it? Evelyn nodded, frozen. They won't cross this threshold, he said. They fear it, but they'll try to lure you away. Do not leave this car. Do not turn your back. Do not speak to them. The girl appeared again, outside the engine window, pressing her face against the glass. Turn back. Turn back. Evelyn's hands shook. Her breath caught. I can't. Daniel put a hand on hers. Focus on the wheel. That's your anchor. That's your hope. For now, it's the only thing that keeps you alive. Lightning struck the tracks outside, and the engine shuddered violently. Outside, the fog parted slightly, revealing the twisted, impossible rails. Shapes moved along them, hundreds of pale, faceless bodies, running, crawling, climbing. The train screamed over the rails. Evelyn and Daniel held their positions, eyes fixed on the glowing heart of the engine, praying that it would be enough to survive what was coming next. And then, the lights in the engine car dimmed to a deep crimson. From the shadows, a single word echoed, deep and resonant, "Welcome to Devil's Pass." The crimson glow in the engine car pulsed like a heartbeat. Evelyn could feel it vibrating in her chest, a low, steady thrum that matched the pounding of her own pulse. Daniel held her hand tight, whispering words she didn't understand, prayers, warnings, fragments of rituals meant to keep the spirits at bay. Outside, the fog had thickened into an almost solid wall. The tracks twisted unnaturally, spiraling into shapes that made no sense, like the train was sliding through another dimension. The twisted rails were lined with pale figures, faceless, clawing at the metal as if trying to pull the train off the track. Evelyn's stomach churned. "Is this real?" she whispered. Daniel didn't answer. He couldn't. His eyes were locked on the glowing runes etched into the brass wheel of the engine. The shadows in the corners of the engine car were alive, writhing and shifting. Some leaned in impossibly close, their dark forms pressing against the walls, their whispers now deafening. "Join us! Join us! Join us!" The girl in white appeared again, floating just outside the window, her small hands pressed against the glass. Her eyes were hollow, and her voice, though faint, pierced the cacophony. "You don't belong here, leave." Evelyn tried to speak, but her throat was dry. She wanted to run, to hide, to escape, but there was nowhere to go. The door to the next carriage, which had once promised safety, was gone. The train had shifted into something impossible, its carriages merging into one another, walls bending like liquid metal. Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. "Stay focused on the wheel. Keep your eyes on the center. It's all that will protect you now." Evelyn's gaze locked on the glowing brass wheel. Symbols she couldn't understand shimmered, pulsing with a light that felt alive. The shadows recoiled when they approached it, hissing like angry spirits. For a moment, a sense of calm settled over her, tense, fragile, but real. The wheel began to turn on its own, slowly at first, then faster, spinning clockwise as if awakening from a long slumber. Steam hissed from the pipes around them, and the shadows shrieked, pressing against the walls in agony. Daniel muttered urgently, "The engine, it's alive. Not just a machine, it's feeding off them. Feeding off their anger, their pain, their deaths. It's why they linger. It's why the train still runs." Evelyn felt the energy in the room, an invisible current pulling at her bones, trying to make her look away, trying to draw her into the mist outside. She shook her head, focusing on the wheel, repeating Daniel's words silently in her mind. "I am alive. I am alive. I am alive." The shadow figures outside the windows screamed. Some slammed against the glass, leaving dark handprints that sizzled when they touched the surface. The girl in white whispered again, "Turn back." But Evelyn didn't. She couldn't. Something deep inside told her that the only way to survive was to face the heart of the train. The wheel spun faster, faster, until the entire engine car vibrated violently. Steam enveloped the room in a dense cloud. Then, in a sudden, blinding flash of light, the train lurched violently, throwing Evelyn and Daniel to the floor. When the light dimmed, everything had changed. The fog outside was gone. The twisted, impossible tracks straightened into ordinary rails. But the landscape beyond the windows was unlike anything Evelyn had seen before. A valley bathed in moonlight, hills rolling softly, and in the distance, a narrow, jagged pass cutting through the mountains. A sign glowed faintly above the pass. Devil's Pass. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. The shadows outside were gone. The girl in white had vanished. The carriage was quiet. Daniel slowly got to his feet. His face was pale, drawn, but alive. "We're almost there," he whispered. "Once we pass through, we may leave this